up in here. Got that DJ playing music everybody wants to hear. Yeah, it's getting kinda crazy up in here. Everybody wants a ride in the water slide. 3, 4. If you're looking for some crazy, I'll tell you everybody's standing in a line for the water slide. You can come on over. We can take the roller coaster. And you know everybody's looking for a ride in the water slide.
Uh-oh. Oh no. Oh god. Ah! Ah! Did I break it? Oh god, I think I broke it. Oh god, the water slide is broken! The water slide's broken! Oh, no. No, it's fine. Never mind. We're good.
Yeah, it's a hot day. I'm hanging in the sunshine. You should hit me with the splash gun so I cool down. Won't you come on over? We can party till the sun's down. Baby, let me buy you a drink while we're dancing a blink. I could go for some Queen Bee too. Bass is going boom boom. If you're looking for some crazy, I'll tell you everybody's standing in a line for the water slide. You can come on over. We can take the roller coaster. And you know everybody's looking for a ride in the water slide. Water slide. Water slide. Surfing on a wave of good feelings. Well, it's just another Friday in paradise. So bring your A game, cause you know this party won't stop. We could never run out of time, sipping strawberry lime. You know I wanna share it with you. Bass is going boom boom. If you're looking for some crazy, I'll tell you everybody's standing in a line for the water slide. You can come on over. We can take the roller coaster. And you know everybody's looking for a ride in the water slide. Water slide. It's getting kinda crazy up in here. Got that DJ playing music everybody wants to hear. Yeah, it's getting kinda crazy up in here. Everybody wants a ride in the water slide. 3, 4. If you're looking for some crazy, I'll tell you everybody's standing in a line for the water slide. You can come on over. We can take the roller coaster. And you know everybody's looking for a ride in the water slide. Water slide. Water slide. Yeah, it's a hot day. I'm hanging in the sunshine. You should hit me with the splash gun so I cool down. Won't you come on over? We can party till the sun's down. Baby, let me buy you a drink while we're dancing a blink. I could go for some Queen Bee too. Bass is going boom boom. If you're looking for some crazy, I'll tell you everybody's standing in a line for the water slide. You can come on Surfing on a wave of good feelings. Well, it's just another Friday.
I tried giving you money and my bank's fraud department called me. Only notable because they specifically read giant, quote, giantess VorTuber Anna Valens, unquote, off some part of their screen. Oh no. God damn. God damn. Oh, I love Anna Valens. This fucking sucks, dude. The Visa building dossiers on VTubers? Did anybody have that? Did anybody have that in 2025 bingo card? Financial institutions building dossiers on VTubers? Jesus Christ. We live in hell. We live in hell. Here we go. Let's do it. Woo! There we go. Woo! Hello everyone, it's me, Nicotine, and this is the Nicotine Stream, and all of these beautiful people whose names are scrolling by on the screen as we speak are members either to the Patreon or to the merch store, and every single one of these people has done something extraordinary. Huge thank you, patrons and merch store supporters, for sponsoring everybody else's free entertainment. Thank you so much, patrons and merch store supporters, for your monthly recurring memberships. Chat, if you want to get your name on television, head over to patreon.com/nicotine or merch.nicotine.com. Become one of these beautiful people by signing up for a monthly recurring membership. And while you're at the merch store, there's merch too. There's posters and stickers and t-shirts and hoodies and dog muzzle. And you can buy that stuff for other chatters. There's like a giveaway function. It's great, actually. Sweet little chatters, it's Nicotine spelled a little something like this. Hello, Cat. Hello, Cyrose. Hello, Vic the Victim. Hello, Harper and B-Rad and Sir Demon. Hello, Paula. Hello, Sandrock. Hi, everybody. It's me, Nicotine. I'm out of the hospital. They couldn't be contained. I will not be contained. I am in a lot of pain. Let's go. Here we go. Woo.
Initiating launch sequence.
Hello, again. It is I, the spiteful, crumpled remains of Raccoon Werner Herzog. What is left of my terrible body now occupies a stasis chamber below the ship, and this screen is my only window into a violent and chaotic world. The technological tube which houses my miserable, withered body is powered solely by bits, subscriptions, and donations, and it is rigged to jettison My existence is agony, and the only way to ease that endless decay of my flesh is the application of bits and subscriptions and donations. Please, she is coming back. Please, I do not want to die, for I have seen the void and I fear another yet deeper layer of hell. Please, there isn't much time. I do not want to die. I do not want to die.
Raccoon Werner Herzog, everybody. Such a cute and fun bit that is. Such a cute and fun bit that the Raccoon Werner Herzog bit is. Adorable. Ah, that's great. Thank you so much, Ghost of Bobby, for your subscription. Thank you, Harper, for your 20 stream streak. Outstanding. Oh, Panthras, thank you so much for your sub.
Welcome.
And Kindy, thank you for your sub. Super sweet of you. Thank you. Delightful. Chatters, I'm so honestly, I'm so thrilled. I'm actually thrilled. It's scary being a content creator and having to leave for a week. You know, it's scary. It's scary. It's hard not to think that like everybody will just forget about you entirely. You know, you'll have to wear the cone and then you'll have to be alone in the cone. It's a scary thought. So I'm really happy that I have such good chatters. However, chatters, I am noticing that tomorrow is the election day, the Chatter Bill election day, and nobody has submitted any new chatter bills. So, Chad, if you want a functioning democracy on stream, if you want a functioning streamer democracy, chatters, it's time to submit those bills. You have until tomorrow. Chatters, quickly to the Discord. Submit your chatter bills for the vote tomorrow. A little update on the previous vote. Last week I had to suspend elections because I was in the hospital. I actually had an excuse. I was in the hospital, so I couldn't really hold elections from the hospital bed. So we postponed the elections until this week. I used my executive power and suspended we fixed them so good. Thought the nicotine streamer government was in shutdown. No, we're reopened. See, we're streaming right now. We're reopened. What I'm basically saying is to Panthras, now is your chance. Nobody else has submitted anything, Panthras. Now's your chance. Sweet little chatters, sweetest, tiniest, littlest chatters. I want to say thank you, first of all, for being here. I think it's great. I think it's great that so many good chatters are here. And thank you for helping feed Raccoon Werner Herzog. I know that a lot of you love the raccoon, so good for you. I want to give a thank you to Zy Rose for making a merch store purchase. While I was in the hospital. Very cool of you. If you're around Zy Rose, you take a bow. That's great. Nika Pat, chatters. Thank you. It was very sweet of you. Chatters, did you know that you can go to the merch store and actually just buy things from the merch store and then just give them away in chat? That's a good way to support streamer. But there are free ways to support streamer too, like just opening up the YouTube stream. I'm streaming as well to YouTube. Hi, YouTube. And if you just open up the YouTube stream and just leave it open in another tab, that's an excellent way to support streamer. I need them watch hours, so. What else? Oh, man. So did you guys hear about Mexico City yesterday? I can get gifted merch like a dog bra? Well, no, we don't have dog bra anymore, remember? That was the incentive last week. That was the incentive last week. Although, chatters, we're pretty close. We're 59% of the way to the rent goal. I think we could do another giveaway. What should we give away from the merch store, chatters? Should we give something away from the merch store? Hello, Kindy. Something about protests. Yeah, in Mexico City. Yeah. So, some of you might remember, was it Nepal? The Nepalese government? Or the Nepali government? The protests in Nepal. You guys remember that? That was like a month ago. Like a month ago, there was a big protest in Nepal, and some of you terminally online folks might know about it because it involved the characters from One Piece playing a pivotal role. There's an anime called One Piece. I've never seen it. A Japanese cartoon called One Piece. Anyway, there were a bunch of protests in Nepal, and it was primarily said to have been Gen Z protesters who were protesting a lot of things in Nepal. They succeeded in overthrowing their government and installed an interim government that was holding elections via Discord. I shit you not. It was wild. Anyway, all that backstory out of the way, Mexico City yesterday. Okay, so on the beginning of the month, on November 1st, there was a killing, a very high-profile killing of a rural mayor of a town in Mexico. I don't remember if it was Oaxaca or like some other. It might have been Baja. I don't remember, but there was a rural mayor of the town who was very outspoken against cartels. He was killed, presumably by a cartel member, and that cartel member hasn't been caught or something. I'm not entirely sure. I don't think they've been caught. Anyway, it's been a flashpoint issue for a lot of people who are frustrated with the perception that that Mexico isn't hard enough on cartels. And while it is true that Mexico has struggled with corruption, that's a well-known fact. There are corruption indexes that discuss Mexico's place in the world ranking system for corruption. That's a normal thing to discuss. That's not a political issue. It's just a fact. While Mexico does struggle with corruption, it does sort of seem that the Gen Z protesters who are trying to display their frustration at a government they perceive as being too easy on cartels, these Gen Z protesters, I don't know, man. I use the term, the quote unquote Gen Z lightly because, well, this is the Gen Z protest. I don't know if you can see this. Here we go. Let's see if we can zoom in on this. Enhance. How do I do that again? I haven't used my keyboard in like a week, and now I forgot what all my keybinds are. Oh, god damn it. Oh no. Oh god. Okay, well, whatever. Anyway, Trump and Marco Rubio, SOS, Trump and Marco Rubio, government of Mexico has betrayed the USA and the Mexican people. Sheinbaum, who is the president of Mexico, AMLO, who is the previous president of Mexico, and Morena, the political party that these two politicians belong to, are lying. Pictured the Gen Z protester. So here's the thing. I don't know how many. I have talked about this on stream in the past before. But for those of you who are blissfully unaware, there is a long-standing tradition in United States policy, foreign policy, to involve ourselves in regime change in Latin America. A long, storied history of the United States doing regime change in other countries. And for those of you who ever heard of Oliver North, right? That was kind of what the Iran-Contra thing was all about with Sandinistas, right? If you ever heard of Sandinistas, that's this. The United States has done this for like a whole century. Cuba, you know the reason? Do you guys know the reason we have a military base in Cuba, communist Cuba? Do you guys know why we have that? Okay, let me explain really quickly, just so that you guys know what a banana republic is. How many of you guys know what a banana republic is? And not the clothing store, not the clothing store. Tell me in the chat what you think banana republic means. Wrong answers only. What's a banana republic, chatters? Go on, I'll wait. I didn't know Banana Republic was a clothing store. Oh, yeah, it's a United States clothing brand. It's popular with preppy kids. I never went there. It's expensive. I was always more of a Goodwill kind of kid. It's when you make polo shirts unaffordable and the people rebel. I've heard it like 3 times and I forgot each time. Something about gaining power through a product. A republic where the official currency is bananas. There's actually an economics channel on YouTube that I watch sometimes where they explain economic concepts in terms of bananas, which is super reductive, but also really good for learning basic economic stuff. Anyway, the point of everything I'm trying to say is that a banana republic is not just a clothing store. A Banana Republic is, sorry, chatters, I don't know if you guys know this, I just got out of the hospital, I'm on like a ton of painkillers. I'm on this thing called gabapentin, which I shit you not is a dog medication. They got me on dog pills, I swear to God. Oh, Hoosker Doo is here. Hi, Hoosker. Hoosker Doo. I forgot the pulse thing. There we go. Okay. Because the U.S. had a habit of using agricultural corporations as de facto mercantilist trading companies. Okay, so a banana republic is exactly this. In political science, the term banana republic describes a politically and economically unstable country with an economy dependent on the export of a natural resource. This is a very fancy way of saying that if you have it's Tropico. Have you guys ever played Tropico? It's Tropico. It's a small republic in Latin America, typically, that it depends on exporting stuff like, if you think in terms of Tropico, like bananas, right? If you think in terms of Tropico, like rum, tobacco. And if you think of things in real life, like Cuba, places like Cuba that rely on the export of things like bananas and tobacco and sugar. Where do they export those things to? How do they make money? I mean, suppose you are a leader of a country and you want to sell a bunch of natural resources to get money for your government, ostensibly to help the people of your government, right? People of your state. Right? You want to fund a welfare program, but you don't have any money, so you want to sell some resources. Who do you sell it to, right? Who's going to buy bulk bananas? Well, that's where the state capitalism comes in. Big old United States rolls in with companies like United Fruit. I'm sure they're going to mention it in here somewhere. Where's United Fruit? Here it is. Companies like United Fruit. Oh, later Chiquita Brands International. Yeah, you guys have seen this, right? United Fruit is a huge conglomerate bulk buyer of resources, specifically fruit, right, from Latin America. And because this monopoly is allowed to exist, this sort of quasi-governmental institution, it's basically backed by the United States military. They basically run the way that they would want to run a corporation here in the United States, right? Corporations in the United States want to be little demagogues. They want to be little governments. They want to have their own militaries, right? They want to have private security. They want to pay people as little as possible. They want to pay people none, and they'll settle for paying people as little as possible if they have to. You know, they want to extract as much value as possible. And in a place like Latin America, where wages are depressed and people's labor is cheaper, they want to take full advantage of it, and they just steamroll Latin America with these corporations. And the corporations are backed by the United States military. The U.S. military actually goes in and backs up the United Fruit Company whenever there's rebellions or revolts, right? That's what a banana republic is, okay? It's basically like think of it like a puppet state. It's a puppet state that's reliant on corporations, foreign corporations, to keep afloat. A banana republic, you can think of it as like a puppet state. But instead of a government that's propping up the puppet state, it's a corporation. And in most cases, it's a corporation on behalf of another state. It's a puppet state with extra steps. With a capitalist flavor, basically. Yeah. So that's what hang on. That's what a banana republic is. Anyway, the United States has a long storied history in doing this very thing, right? Cuba is an excellent example. You guys know why Cuba is communist? Do you guys know why Cuba is the way it is? Cuba used to be a banana republic. It was owned and operated basically by a U.S. corporation. I think it was United Fruit. It might not have been. It might have been the predecessor to United Fruit, but basically it was owned and operated by a United States corporation. They were extracting as much value as they possibly could, and people of Cuba had had enough, and they were willing to revolt over it. And they happened to follow Fidel Castro and one of the many guys claiming to be Che Guevara. That's a true conspiracy theory. Che just means guy, just like, hey, dude, you know? Che Guevara is just like, I think Che Guevara is just like a name they give to a bearded guy who looks kind of like Che, right? Anyway, that's aside from that.
I love buying clothes there.
Hi, Stoic. Hello, Stoic. It's good to see you. Thank you for the sub, Stoic. Anyway, the 82 months. Jesus Christ. Thank you so much, Stoic. That's amazing. Can I get a little Nika Pat for Stoic, please? That's a long time. That's a long time. Thank you. Banana Republic is that, right? Cuba was owned and operated by U.S. corporate interests, and Cubans had enough of it, and they revolted. And despite American military presence, the Cuban people overthrew their corporate masters and formed a new government. And whether or not that new government was positive or negative for the people is up for debate. But I will say that Cuba did something about it and won, essentially, right? Cuba cast off its shackles and won. against what was very blatantly a U.S.-backed influence campaign on their country. The same can't necessarily be said for other states, right? There are lots of states, Latin American states, that have seen coups with the backing of the United States government, right? The U.S. government will fund a... So think of it this way, right? Like you have a government. You have a government in Latin America, right? You have a government in Latin America. Think about this, right? If you want to have a social safety net, right? Like you want to have free healthcare for your people, right? Even if you abide by U.S. corporate fear-mongering, right? U.S. corporate interests who are nickel and diming you, right? You're extracting your natural resources to pay for stuff for your, for social safety net stuff, right? Just this example. Even if you comply with all of that stuff, the United States still doesn't like that you have a social safety net. They think you're progressive. You're a little too progressive. And so the United States government secretly starts funding your opposition. And your opposition can look like lots of things. This is Latin America. It's not United States. There are different levels of violence that are commonplace in different places in Latin America. And a lot of times, the United States-backed coups were violent. They were terribly violent. The United States' support for these would include lots of things, right? Just like Oliver North, it included weapons or the promise of weapons or money, just funding. The United States has tons of just black money, right? Just money that goes into a black fund that never sees the light of day, right? That the alphabet agencies can use for stuff like this, and they'll just fund coups. They'll just use it to fund coups. Now, the reason I'm talking about all of this is so that you keep this in the forefront of your mind when I explain what Article 33 is. Do any of you know what Article 33 of the Mexican Constitution says? I don't expect any of you to know this, but if one of you does, I'd be very impressed. Artículo 33. How many of you know that? What is it, 33? Let's see here. This appears to be a English version. How do I... God damn it. Can I... Nope. Let me... Please, let me zoom in. Oh my God, I think I'm dying. What is happening? Am I dying? Ah! What have I done? Oh God. Okay, that's not what I wanted to do. Jesus Christ. All right, well, just squint, chatters. I guess just squint. Jesus Christ. Hang on, I gotta fix this. I'm so sorry, chatters. I've been gone for a week and I forgot all of my keybinds. I'm so sorry. I don't know if you guys know this. I'm using a crazy keyboard right now. It's a split keyboard and I'm on a lot of painkillers, so... It's kind of fun. I mean, it's kind of fun, like, learning how to type again, honestly. I do think it's kind of fun. I was a pretty good typist in school. Okay. There it is. Here we go. That's better. Okay, I got it. All right, so chatters, before we talk about our Artículo 33, I think is how you say that. Chatters. As soon as we talk about that, I just want to say thank you to all of you who are keeping the stream open on YouTube as well. I used to have my YouTube monetized, and then they took it away for some reason. So now I need. They're not going to give it back unless I get so many watch hours, and the only way I can get that is if just like good chatters like keep the stream open in another tab. That's one of the big reasons I'm streaming to YouTube right now. So hello YouTube. I'm thrilled to be here. I wish your platform liked streaming better. I wish your platform was better, but I am thrilled to be here. So I'm also on a lot of painkillers. Chatters. The Mexican Constitution has gone through a lot. Mexicans fought really hard to get a constitution, right? To get their own constitution. The Mexican Revolution, I mean, you've heard Viva la Revolución, right? Like the Mexican Revolution is a big deal. I'm not going to get into the history of it, but basically Mexicans fought really hard to have a very stable constitution. And they do. They have a really good constitution. If you ever read the Mexican Constitution, this stuff in here it's really cool, actually. A lot of stuff in here is
Feel better,
amazing.
Nicola.
Porcelain, thank you so much for your tier 2. Outstanding. Thank you for 54 months. Nicely done. Thank you. Delightful. Yeah, there's lots of good stuff in here, chatters. There's lots of good stuff in here. So there is a portion of this, Article 33. See, like, okay, so Mexico, we're just, as we're scrolling down, I want to just explain. Mexico has some public-private partnership corporations. How many of you have heard of Amtrak? If you're in the United States or in a very particular part of Canada, you may have heard of Amtrak. It's it's like the train service in the United States. It's basically a public-private corporation. It's sort of kind of it's a private company that's basically funded and led, kind of appointed. The leadership is appointed by the United States government. So it's like a public-private partnership, kind of. Mexico has some of these too, and that's kind of what this part is talking about. This is important. Article 12, no titles of nobility, no prerogatives, hereditary honor shall be granted in the United Mexican states. Those granted by any other country shall have no effect. Man, no kings, right? Awesome. For a country that was, ostensibly modeled after Spain and France, it's it's pretty cool. It's good. It's good for them. Rode Amtrak from New York to California. Slow. Yeah, I've taken Amtrak lots of times. I used to ride Amtrak Coast Starlight a lot from LA to back home in Monterey, California. And it's a long ride. It's like 9 hours. It's longer than driving, but it's a little bit better. Like you get a little space to stretch out. You can sit at a table and play games or whatever. It's fine. I used to take, so I don't like the TSA. I'm pretty sure I'm on a list. Every time I go to an airport, I get pulled aside. They pat me down, despite, like, I even do the TSA pay pig thing. What is it? Pre-check? I even do pre-check. And, even then, it's, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. I keep getting pulled aside. So I try not to fly whenever I can. I try to take Amtrak whenever I travel. But my God, it is slow. It is slow. It is slow. It is very slow. I took an Amtrak train from Oregon down to California, which is an overnight trip, and I didn't get a room because they're kind of expensive. I just got a chair, which is actually pretty cheap. It's pretty cheap to get a chair. It's like, I don't know, it's like half the price of a plane ticket. But you have to spend all the time in the chair or in the observation car. And man, it is crowded in the observation car at night. Like people just sleeping on the floor, and they treat you totally differently too. Like Amtrak treats you completely differently. I was getting on the train for the first time I went on the train to go down to California. I was sitting next to this woman who was, she seemed really nice at first. And then she's like, so do you know about the the Antarctica? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I know about Antarctica. And she's like, oh, about the wall there? And I'm like, oh, ooh. And the Nazi bases? Oh, I gotta go. I'm sorry. So I left. I came back and she was sleeping, but she was doing this thing every so often where she would just go. So I couldn't sleep, and I just ended up staying up all night. It was miserable. So when I went back up on the train on the return trip, I asked the conductor. I was like, "Hey, if is it possible? You know, there's lots of open seats, right? Like, is it possible that you could seat me next to an open seat, pretty please?" And the conductor looked at me like I had stabbed someone, and they were like, "Did you pay for 2 seats?" And I said, no. And they said, then you don't get 2 seats. I was like, oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'll be good, I promise. I swear I'll be good. I'm sorry. Anyway, that's a public-private partnership. And sometimes they work really well and sometimes they don't. But any way you slice it, they are a fact of life. So Mexico has some of those, right? They have more of those than we do. They have a public-private partnership that handles like petroleum for the country and I think electricity too for the country. Those things are owned by the government, but in Mexico, the government is owned by the people, so kind of owned by the people. Basically, what I'm suggesting here is that Mexico has a very progressive government, and they do this while existing in a very hostile place to progressive governments because of this, right? Because of the United States' involvement in regime change in Latin America, where the United States will see a progressive government and then start funding the opposition so that the opposition can gain enough traction and astroturf enough to look like a real opposition party, right? The United States does this all the time. They still do it. We're doing it in Venezuela right now. When Trump said he was sending the CIA to Venezuela, that's what he means. Like, that's what the CIA are doing there. They're trying to elicit grassroots support for an opposition party to do a coup. It's the playbook. That's the playbook. That's what they do every time. And in Mexico, in addition to all this cool stuff that they have in their constitution, which, by the way, includes political prisoners. Oh, I don't know what the exact article is, but there's a clause in the Mexican Constitution that says if you reside in Mexico, even if you're not technically a Mexican citizen, you can't be extradited for political crimes, which is something that actually came up when the Mexican embassy took one of the people who had just been couped in Latin America recently, like within the last couple of weeks. It was a big dust up, and it actually contributed to this. But all of this is to say that Mexico has a pretty cool constitution, and there's one part of it that is really interesting. Artículo 33, I think is how you say this. Chapter 3, the foreigners. In English, it says, the individuals that do not meet the criteria determined by Article 30 shall be considered such as foreigners. They shall be entitled to the human rights and guarantees conferred to by this Constitution. So you get, as a foreigner in Mexico, if you reside there, you're entitled to human rights while you're in Mexico, right? If you are in Mexico, you have basic human rights guaranteed by the Constitution. The President of the Republic shall have the power to expel from national territory any foreigner, according to the law, after a hearing. Now, this is important. This sounds scary. I want you to listen in full, okay? The law shall establish the administrative procedure for this purpose, as well as the place where the foreigner should be detained at that time the detention lasts. Foreigners may not in any way participate in the political affairs of the country. Now, Article 33 is basically Mexico's contingency plan, right? It's a contingency for this. right? This, Article 33, foreigners may not in any way participate in political affairs of the country, is Mexico's answer to existing in a hostile environment to progressive governments, right? To any government that wants autonomy from the United States, right? Any autonomous Latin American government, basically, right? Even if the government was right wing, it would still be under the thumb of United States business interests at the very least, right? So this is Mexico's answer to it. Now, it sounds kind of scary. Foreigners may not in any way participate in the political affairs of the country. And it might shock you to know that Mexico actually does take this very seriously. In Mexico, right, you are, if you are a foreigner, which is defined in Article 30, right, so up here, Mexican nationality is acquired by birth or by naturalization. Mexican nationals by birth are those born in Mexican territory, those born in a foreign country which are sons or daughters of Mexican parents, those born in a foreign country are sons or daughters of Mexican parents by naturalization. Yeah, those born on the board of Mexican military or merchant vessels and aircraft. And Mexicans by naturalization are those aliens who obtain naturalization card from the Department of Foreign Affairs. Again, this language, this is translated from Spanish, so if it looks janky, that's because it's not written in English. Those aliens who obtain a naturalization card from the Department of Foreign Affairs, any foreign woman or man who marries a Mexican man or woman and establishes residence inside the Mexican territory, provided that foreigner complies with the other requirements set forth by the law for that purpose. So if you are a Mexican national, someone who has obtained a naturalization card from the Department of Foreign Affairs, which usually takes like 6 or 7 years, right? You can become a Mexican by naturalization. So, to that end, what it means is that the requirements to become a Mexican national are pretty steep. Like, this is not an easy thing to do. And, like, becoming a Mexican by marriage is also not terribly easy. And the only other ways are to be born into Mexico, right? Birthright citizenship. So basically, your only path to citizenship in Mexico is to obtain this naturalization card, which you can get through renewing like a temporary visa for several years in a row. I think it's 6 years. But all of that is to say that it's difficult to become a Mexican citizen, right? And anybody who's not a Mexican citizen is, in the terms of Article 33, considered a foreigner. And foreigners may not in any way participate in political affairs of the country. What does that mean? What does it mean, though? What does it mean to not in any way participate in the political affairs of the country? Like, it's kind of a scary sentence, but like, what it actually means is you're not allowed as a foreigner to give money to political parties in Mexico. And that's pretty understandable, right? Like, if I was here in the United States, right, I would be concerned if, for instance, a foreign country like, say, Russia or China decided suddenly to start funding a bunch of hardcore right-wing stuff to destabilize our government. I would be, I don't know. I would think that this would be a pretty good rule in that situation, right? This also means that foreigners, people who have not yet gotten their naturalization card from the Mexican Department of Foreign Affairs, right? People who hold a temporary visa, or people who are visiting, CIA agents at the embassy. Foreigners may not in any way participate in the political affairs of the country by protesting. Like, you're not allowed to protest if you're a foreigner in Mexico. And this is actually taken very seriously. You can go to jail for this. People do. People talk about it. Expats talk about this. You know, accidentally joining a protest and going to jail for it. Quote unquote, accidentally joining a protest, right? And then going to jail for it. That's a real thing. I mean, this is a crime, right? And they can just they'll just send you away for it. And I know that sounds harsh. Like, it does sound harsh, right? But it's Mexico's answer to this. It's the only reason that Mexico can maintain as much autonomy as it has by enshrining in its constitution that foreigners may not in any way participate in the political affairs of the country, because it gives them a legal basis to expel agitators, right? Or foreign governments, the United States, from funding opposition. Now, when you have a country that has this in their laws, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're always equally enforced, because it's difficult to know when something is astroturfed, right? Astroturf is a term that we use to describe a movement, typically online, that's made to seem bigger than it really is through bot accounts or through multiple accounts of the same person just screeching into the void. This is a thing that turfs do a lot, astroturfing. But I want to just remind you that this Constitution was written in 1917, and it gets revisions every now and then, but when it was written, it was relatively easy to track down people who might be foreign nationals trying to fund your opposition parties. It was relatively easier. Not easy, it was relatively easier. Now, what do you do if, say, a very popular social media platform? What do you do if a very popular social media platform decides that it's going to on its own volition, through no outside influence whatsoever? Oh my God, where is it? Hang on. President Trump signed an executive order on 20th of January delaying the enforcement of the TikTok ban by 75 days. In April 2025, the president signed another executive order further delaying the enforcement of the TikTok ban, and again in June for another 75-day extension. Why would President Trump do this? What would President Trump get out of this, right? He doesn't give a shit about TikTok. Would it be to perhaps possibly instill a little bit of influence in TikTok? A tit for tat? I won't enforce a ban on your company if you are favorable to our interests overseas. If you push media that we want you to push, that our alphabet agencies want you to push, the CIA, NSA, whatever, our alphabet agencies want to push certain content in certain places. The Mexican Constitution and Article 33, right? Article 33 say that foreigners may not in any way participate in the political affairs of the country. But how do you enforce that if there are massive social media companies conducting AstroTurf campaigns online in order to drum up whatever support they can in your country? This is actually something that the United States has thought was happening to us through several different periods of time in the last 5 years or so. But it is strange, right? Why would President Trump do this? What does he get out of it? I'm pretty sure, I don't know this for a fact, I'm just speculating, right? Just a speculation, but I would suggest that the reason TikTok keeps getting these ban extensions is because they keep kowtowing to American interests, right? And it's increasingly difficult in a modern connected world to enforce a rule like Article 33, where foreigners may not in any way participate in political affairs of the country, if you have the most popular social media platform among young people pumping out right-wing propaganda left and right, and potentially in Facebook as well. I don't know if you guys know this. Mexico is in love with Facebook. Almost every business in Mexico has a Facebook, and almost all of them use WhatsApp to conduct business. It's scary. If you go to Mexico and you go somewhere, you want to look at a business online, but nobody has their own website. It's all Facebook, completely run by Facebook. And so if, for instance, Donald Trump wanted something favorable from Facebook, if Facebook wanted to kiss the ring, they could easily say, hey, we'll showcase, certain types of content in certain places in order to drum up support for, this quote unquote grassroots movement, right? And I don't know if you guys know, how could Facebook do this kind of thing? That doesn't sound right. Facebook would never do something like that. Facebook would never do something like that. They would never purposely showcase certain types of content to certain kinds of people in order to sway elections. Cambridge Analytica used the data to analytically assist the 2016 presidential campaigns of Ted Cruz and Donald Trump. The Cambridge Analytica Facebook scandal was huge in the 2010s. If you guys don't remember it, because maybe you're too young, this was huge. It's the reason why most younger people don't use Facebook, right? It was massive. So if social media is constantly pushing right-wing content, like just assume, right, for the sake of argument, just pretend with me that maybe it's true that TikTok and Facebook are pushing hardcore right-wing content to young people specifically and older people through Facebook, right, to places in Mexico that the United States government feels are specifically, especially vulnerable to right-wing radicalization, right? That would be an excellent way to end up like this, right? That would be an excellent way to end up like this. Now, I want you to just recognize that this event, which happened in Mexico yesterday, this big protest, riot, really, was it was galvanizing for a lot of reasons. There were some incredible photos taken of this event. But my favorite is probably this one. The Gen Z protesters, everybody. Behold, Gen Z. Facebook kicked me off in 2009 for not using my dead name. Yeah, oh my God, they did the same thing to me. Yeah, Facebook did the exact same thing to me. It's bullshit. This can't be real? Oh, it's real. Yeah, this is real. This is an actual picture. Behold the Gen Z protesters. From yesterday's right-wing protest at Mexico City's capital. Now, I want to stress another thing about this, too. And another thing. Going on the dog is a great bit, thank you. I am in a lot of pain. And another thing. The protesters, some of whom were Gen Z, right? The protesters, some of whom were Gen Z, were there to protest what they felt were legitimate concerns, right? They are scared, right? They're scared. They want some safety. It's scary to live in a country where your governmental leaders can just be killed by cartel and seemingly nothing happens. That's a scary thing. And it's a problem politically for the government. Scheinbaum will probably have to answer that at some point. Because I don't think that young people are going to feel any better until something changes, right? However, young people who are frustrated and scared at this concept of being killed by the cartel are being co-opted. Their frustration is being co-opted by opposing political parties. Let me explain something really quickly to you about Mexico's political system. I know that this isn't the most interesting. This isn't the most interesting topic for everybody, but it is for me. Mexico's political system is they're like a political system. They're like a coalition government, right? There's a ton of little parties, and they form coalitions together. Generally speaking, they form coalitions. Right? Politics in Mexico. Generally speaking, they form big coalitions. Right now, there's a president, Claudia Sheinbaum. She is a president who has succeeded another beloved president. She's a beloved president, by the way. She was voted in with an overwhelming majority. The previous president was a guy named AMLO. They called him AMLO. AMLO specifically. Let's see if I can get his. Oh my God, where is he? AMLO is basically like you can think of AMLO as like the Bernie Sanders of Mexico. Very progressive, did a lot of infrastructure projects, which are very controversial, actually. I will concede that the infrastructure projects in Mexico are controversial. They did a big bullet train in Maya called the Tren Maya, which it's good that they have high-speed rail. It's not great that it came with such an environmental cost. Yucatan is an environment that deserves protecting, and cenotes are not forever, so it sucks when they're destroyed in the process of infrastructure. And I will concede that they probably they could have done the Tren Maya a little bit better. However, I mean, historically, right, like train stations are a boon for local populations. So I think in the long run, it's a good idea. Anyway, aside from that, López, right? López Obrador, AMLO, this guy. He was basically the founder of a new political party in Mexico. You might not have heard of it. It's called Morena. And Morena it's kind of a pun. In Spanish, it's kind of a Spanish pun. Basically, Morena is a progressive party, right? They're left wing, they're populists. It's basically the Bernie Sanders party, right? Basically, if Bernie Sanders was Mexican and had a political party, that would be Morena, and they won in Mexico by an overwhelming majority in their elections, both of them. Huge number of people in their government, in their Senate, right? Their legislatures. Look at this. These are all one Mexican party. Morena. It's a huge party. And they are an alternative to the long dominant PRI, which is, they PRI were huge in Mexico for years and years, right? This is the, what is it? The centrist party, right? Centrist Party, and National Action Party, which is the conservatives, right? There's actually another conservative organization, too, that's even more far crazy right-wing. But anyway, the point of all of this is to say that Morena is like overwhelmingly popular in Mexico. And it was created by this previous president named AMLO. The Revolutionary Party is centrist? Yeah, well, okay, so... So the revolution was to have stability in Mexico, right? Because so the revolution in Mexico was because like nobody could agree on having a government, and all the people who were claiming to have the government in Mexico kept getting killed, and they wanted stability. And that was the revolution, to have a government, to have a stable government. So the Revolution Party was that. It was, please let us have a stable government. Please, God. Other countries keep trying to interfere with Mexico, right? Like the French and the Spanish and now the United States. Every other country, these colonial powers just keep trying to fuck with Mexico. So So yeah, the Revolutionary Party was a party. Well, it was a party for centrists, and it kind of makes sense if you look at it in that respect. Anyway, the election of AMLO to presidency was big for Mexico. He was able to do a lot of big projects. But the problem with any left-wing government in Latin America is that it's subject to this. It's subject to this. The United States is consistently trying to institute regime change, right? And we are openly doing it right now in Venezuela. Trump said he's sending the CIA there. That's on purpose. They're trying to do a regime change. He wants the CIA to build up a grassroots organization that can be like an opposition party, an armed opposition. That's what the CIA does in Latin America. Difficult to do in Mexico, though. Mexico is it's a first world country. It's like the United States, right? It's illegal to own a gun in Mexico. So there's gun laws, right? People still bring them from the United States. The United States keeps sending guns, which is a problem. But anyway, Claudia Sheinbaum is the successor. She's the sequel, right? She's after AMLO does all these like really interesting, the Tren Maya and all these big infrastructure projects like there's an airport in Mexico City. After AMLO does all these and institutes a bunch of social reforms, right? Like social safety net stuff, progressive things. The next president is Claudia Sheinbaum, who's overwhelmingly voted in, right? Huge majority. Super majority. Morena. And so the political scene in Mexico is right now that a progressive left-wing government is in charge of the government for the next 6 years. Claudia Sheinbaum was voted in at the end of last year, I think. So for the next 6 years, Mexican presidents are 6 years. Mexico is, at least for the next 6 years, is going to have a very left-wing progressive government. And so it sort of kind of feels like the United States is trying to use every lever in our toolkit in order to push right-wing propaganda to Mexican citizens, which is a direct violation of Article 33. Foreigners may not in any way participate in the political affairs of the country. But if you aren't in Mexico, then the United States they don't care. What do they have to care? This is a on the books. It's only a law for people who are in Mexico. And if you're comfortably sitting in a C-suite at Emeryville or Palo Alto, and you're just pushing buttons to send right-wing propaganda to Mexican citizens in places where the United States government has told you to, then you're not subject to Mexican laws, in theory, right? It's my opinion that Mexico should really update this. But also, the United States is going to keep doing this, and other foreign countries are going to keep doing it too, right? Like Russia did it to us. China did it to us. And we do it to both of them. So this is nothing new. It's just that it's a new lever to push in Latin America. For a country that has access to first world stuff like social media, right? A mass adoption of social media. It's a very easy thing to do for the U.S. government to influence campaigns that way. And I don't know if you guys know this. So basically what happened was that all these Gen Z protesters were going on this protest march to the Capitol. The Capitol in Mexico City is called the Governmental Palace, Palacio. Palacio, I think, has like a different connotation in Mexico. They call it a palace. It's not really a palace. It's like a big government institution. Anyway, they're going to go march there, but they're joined by the opposition parties of Morena, right? Morena being the left-wing progressive political organization, and their opposition, the PRI and the National Action Party, right? They're joined by members of these political organizations as a means of criticizing and critiquing the Mexican government. That's a little weird, right? It's a little weird that all of the boomers from the PRI and National Action Party are dressing up in one-piece shirts they bought from Walmart to go to go to the Gen Z protest. That's a little strange. Scheinbaum is also an anti-Zionist Jewish person with real power and influence, so that's cool. Yeah, Scheinbaum's done a lot. Mexico is actually suing firearms companies for damages right now. Oh, are they really? Do you have a link for that? That's amazing. Anyway, as they're marching to the Capitol, Mexican government is starting to get big January 6th vibes from this. It's like a bunch of people who are, kind of frothing at the mouth about stuff that's really outside of the government's direct control right now, right? Like they're mad that the governor or mayor of the one town got killed by the cartel, which is a legitimate thing to be mad about, but they're like marching to the Capitol about it, which is setting off alarm bells for the Mexican government, who are remembering our January 6th and also remembering the Nepalese government having been overthrown by Gen Z. However, as it turns out, this is the Mexican government building, the governmental Palacio, right? That's this. And they got wind that there might be there might be people trying to overthrow the government, which looks to be like maybe 100. Is that 100 people? Maybe 200 people? There's definitely a 2-to-1 ratio of like Mexican government guards to to the AstroTurf conservative protesters, right? Federales. Yeah. Well, they could be federales. I don't know if these are federales. They might be. Federales are headquartered in Mexico City, which is why there's not a ton of cartel activity there. But these could just be guards for this building. Anyway, I think it's interesting that that both sides have sort of claimed victory over this. It's a little strange. It seems to me to be a little bit just like pageantry. I want to show you some other pictures from this because it is really interesting. Mexico tried to do a January 6th yesterday, and it didn't go well. Mexico. Let's see. I want to show you. Yeah, here we go. So, if anybody's like debating whether or not the protest was like astroturfed, there are some. I mean, here's kind of a disturbing image. This is one of the protesters, right? That's a little bit oof. I don't think that helps your cause very much, guys. Yeah. Mexico did fight in World War II, but kind of only really briefly toward the very, very end. So they don't really have like the same. I'm not going to make excuses for this guy because this is terrible. They also don't have the same level of like deep core hatred of this that we do. I don't think, right? Because, I mean, they didn't, it wasn't like a big part of their national identity that they fought in World War II and killed Nazis, right? That's a big part of the United States' core identity. I want to show you another picture. Hi, everyone. My name is Nicotine. Welcome to the stream. Hit that follow button, subscribe, give bits, and donate. I'm not going to censor this because I think it's important that you guys see it. Here is another photo from the protests. I'm not censoring it because it's important that you guys see this. This is something that was spray painted on the government building during this protest. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, that sucks. For those of you who don't speak Spanish, I won't repeat it, but it's bad. I don't think you need to know much Spanish to know what that means. So, and you, I mean, you might even know who did it, right? Oof. Somebody also got this image, which I think is, from a photography standpoint, is an interesting shot, right? This is a beautiful shot. It's a terrible event. It's an interesting shot, though. This guy waving a Mexican flag, getting tear gassed, and like looking like he's crying, right? This is what you put on propaganda posters, right? This is like the Soviets putting the Soviet flag over the German building. Excellent photo. Whoever got that deserves an award for something. Now look, I know that there are legitimate reasons to hate the protesters, right? I mean, this sucks, dude. Anybody who's protesting with this guy, it's the Nazi bar, right? As soon as you let one Nazi in, it's a Nazi bar. Anybody who's protesting with this guy is, I mean, that sucks, dude. But you're never really gonna find me. You're never gonna really find me promoting like violence from the police, right? It does seem excessive. This is excessive. Yeah, I don't know if these are federales. I don't think they are. I think they're just local police with SWAT gear on. Anyway, Mexico takes wannabe January 6ers very seriously. Good distraction. Thank you so much for the sweet, sweet $20. Outstanding. Thank you. Delightful. Goddamn. Very, very good. Thank you. State violence is state control. Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna close that one. I think it's possible to denounce the protesters, obviously, while also denouncing the violence in some ways, right? I don't think anybody deserves to get beat down like that. I mean, unless they're wearing this, right? Maybe this guy specifically. Thanks for the content. Oh, you're so welcome. Anyway, you can go to r/Mexico for a ton of astroturfed memes. It is interesting that both sides have claimed a victory. I've seen this one, this picture, right? I think I put it up here. Is it this one? Yeah, I've seen this picture several times, and it makes it seem like there just really aren't very many protesters, right? And people are saying, what, was this a failure? I mean, yeah, it was kind of a failure. But then other groups are like posting from this I think the same webcam. they're posting stuff like this, showing like the National Square is totally full of people. It's cut off a little bit because there's probably not that many people over here, but it's showing this is full of people. And I guess my point to all of this is just to say that what's happening in the United States can happen anywhere, right? Any country is susceptible to right-wing propaganda from social media. And it doesn't necessarily have to be paid actors, right? It doesn't necessarily always have to be CIA, right? If you have access to social media and impressionable people, like Facebook proved with the Cambridge Analytica scandal, right? Like Facebook proved in the 2010s, if you have an iron grip on the social media of a country and the means to influence those people with by showing them certain content, it's absolutely possible to instill in a country some sort of destabilization, right? And I just want to say that it's possible. It's possible to happen anywhere. Luckily, it doesn't seem like this went anywhere, right? They didn't breach the Capitol. They didn't really. I don't think they killed anybody. And everybody just kind of left afterwards. And I think a lot of young people who were there for corruption, right? They were there because they don't like the perceived corruption of a rural governor getting murdered by the cartel and seemingly nothing happening. I think a lot of those Gen Z folks, the younger folks who were there to protest that, felt pretty jaded and pretty upset that they were being co-opted. I want to believe that the people who were there for concerns that they had about their government were conscious enough to understand that they were being co-opted and disliked that, right? I don't believe that this was a radicalization event for the PRI. I think, if anything, young people are more skeptical of the PRI, knowing that this was a failure, right? Knowing that the PRI tried to intervene in the opposition party, the National Action Party, tried to intervene. The right-wing party tried to intervene on this, and it kind of failed spectacularly, right? I think a lot of young people will have the impression that those political parties are anathema. Twitter's basically a right-wing platform now. They could have simply been radicalized and organized on Twitter. Yeah, all right. I'm just suggesting that Facebook, because Facebook is so prevalent in Mexico. Like, if you go anywhere in Mexico and you want to like go to a restaurant's website to look for a menu, for instance, or a place to buy tickets to something, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna have to go to not a website but a Facebook page, and you're gonna have to use WhatsApp to do it. It's nuts. I haven't been to Twitter since they took my checkmark away, and I haven't regretted it at all. Twitter sucks. I think as a social media, as like a creator online, it's important to understand like where you want to cultivate an audience, and you're gonna have an audience based on where you try to cultivate it, right? If I wanted to have an audience of right-wing idiots, I could continue posting on Twitter, right? That's where the right-wing idiots are congregating. They're congealing on Twitter. Or I could continue posting on Blue Sky like I do and get very good chatters. I could get good chatters from Blue Sky instead. Deleted Twitter years ago. It was sad looking back on the weird Twitter days, but those had already been long over by that point. Yeah, I don't know. I miss my check mark. Anyway, I think it's important that you guys understand that Mexico had what they wanted, what the right-wing conservatives wanted to be a January 6th event yesterday, and it backfired spectacularly. And also that Mexico has laws against foreigners intervening And also, it was almost certainly an op, right? Almost certainly an op, right? Almost certainly an op. It is kind of ironic that Mastodon was criticized for supposedly creating social bubbles, but that's happening anyway. No, my problem with Mastodon is that they have no concept of of reach. They actively despise any kind of algorithm that could potentially showcase my content to new people. Like, Mastodon exists in a bubble, and that's all they want to do. Like, if you have a Mastodon account, it's like you don't want to be perceived, right? It's diametrically opposed to content creation for me. It's the opposite of the thing I want. No, you don't need a CS degree to use it. I mean, I'm just a dumb streamer and I know how to use it. So I don't think you need to be a genius to use Mastodon. It's not like that anymore. Maybe it was at one point, not anymore. But I despise the fact that it actively hates reach. Like, it just won't show my content to people on purpose. It's nuts. Wild thing about Blue Sky is the libertarian admins. Yeah, the admins in Blue Sky are fucking crazy. It's nuts, right? Like, I applied for a check mark at Blue Sky too, and I never heard back. So, I don't know. Anyway, chatters, now is the time to submit chatter bills. We're going to have an election tomorrow. The chatter election is tomorrow, chatters. Submit chatter bills in the Discord. The weekly election is tomorrow. Also, to update you on the previous chatter bill, which won, which was the chatter bill vote emote. I will be doing that tonight. And I just want to say that I mean, there are some concerns, right, about a voting emote, right? Because you can't really do the word vote and have it be legible in a single emote, right? It's difficult because it's so tiny. So I don't have a ton of space to work with. That's why all of the emotes have like such huge heads. Let's see here. Falling Asunder, I just wanted to say this is outstanding. This is outstanding. I goddamn love this. This is perfect, actually. I am vote. Could it be a nicotine version of the Schoolhouse Rock bill? Potentially. There's also another one from Stoic. Let's see. There it is. Nika, all your vote are belong to us. This is this is phenomenal. Nice job, Stoic. So I mean, man, I would, if I could make this into an emote, I 100% would. But the problem with that is it's this. It's this exactly, right? Oh. If it's at emote size, it's going to be very, very difficult to see, right? And there's no way you're going to be able to read it in emote size. So, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this as a sticker in the Discord. I'm going to add this as a sticker in the Discord, but I'm still going to do a vote emote. I need some ideas for how to do it, because making an emote it's challenging, you guys. I don't know. I put some of the assets for emotes in the Discord so that chatters can make emotes. There's a channel in the Discord called Assets. so that chatters can make emotes. And just so you guys have an idea of like how big and detailed an emote has to be, right? This is Nika F, right? Look at how big everything has to be able to see it, you know, at size. Go ahead and spam this emote, chatters. Nika F. Just see like the difference in detail, right? Everything has to be huge so that you can see it in a teeny tiny little, yeah, see, there it is. Yeah, see? So, yeah, man, I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to work on it. I'm gonna have to work on this. It's gonna take a lot. I wonder, you know what I could do? I could do, hang on. Oh, that's not it. Oh my God, how do I do this? Keymap help. Keymap help. Oh man. Hang on. How do I do this? How do I do this? Help. Let's see. Hang on. Control-Alt-1. Control-Alt-2. Okay. So... Control-Alt-2. Oh, there it is. I got it. Okay, I got it. Okay, so like what if we did like the... What if we did like a big stupid dog emote like the and then it just has like big words that say vote up here. I'm not sure if that's going to be legible. Right? Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, something like... I don't know, man. Like, what if we did, like... That's not it. How do I do, like, a... Is it shift? Yeah, I think it's shift. Okay. Oh man, one thing I don't have is a delete key. What the hell? Okay, well, I don't know. Yeah, it would have to be like let's see. Oh my god, please. There we go. So it'd have to be like... like vote. And then maybe it would be like something like, oh, no way. Something like, I don't know, man. Something like that. The dog T-posing with 2 scales. Oh, and a blindfold? That would be funny. Something like this. But use the trans colors on the box. Okay. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I'll make a couple of mock-ups tonight. Yeah, this is man. Hey, is there a reason chat is in slow mode? What happened? Did I do that? Who did that? I'm turning off slow mode. I like it just as it is. Stream Elements did it for some reason. Oh, weird. Okay, I'll have to look into that. How do I resize it? Select. Rectangular selection. Resize. This needs to go down by like 5%. Oh, 5%. Yeah, let's try that. So this is kind of how big it would be. Just so you guys know. I guess you could still read the word vote. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'll have to work on it. This is about how big it would be if you guys were to have this emote as it is. And look, I love making emotes as much as the next person. I love making emotes as much as the next person. Let's see here. But I do want to stress that that I can actually see like how many of you use emotes. And I can tell like what emotes you guys use most. Oh my God, where is it? God damn it. Twitch changing it every single time I go to use it. Okay, here we go. So I can actually tell like how many of you use which emotes over the course of like how long. And right now, the least used tier 1 emote is trans. It's just Nika trans. The lowest used tier 1 emote is Nika trans. Yeah, that's the least used emote. Chatter's desperate to keep the desperate to keep trans. Okay, I'll tell you what. How about we do this? I got a deal for you, chatters. I got a deal for you. What if we do this? What if we do this? What if I do 2 emotes? What if I do 2 emotes? Okay? And one of them is a ballot box, and the other one is the vote. What if I do 2 emotes and replace Coot? Coot. It was Nika Party like a month ago. Yeah, and then everybody spammed it, and now it's like, it's the middling emote. It's back on page 5. I can even see it's got 13 unique users. Nika Party. Oh, sorry. The non-animated one, Nika P, is only 4 users. 4 of you. I have a dupe? Do I? Do I actually have a duplicate emote? Oh my god, Stream Elements. Why? Oh, it's the teleprompter. Sorry, sorry, Freezerburn. It's the you gotta copy the teleprompter. Nika Y is a tier 1 sub emote, and Nika No is a tier 1 sub emote. Oh, interesting. Okay. Wow, so I do have a duplicate. Yeah, okay, interesting. Nika Y and Nika No. Huh, okay. So, good to know. Nika Trans is safe. Yeah, I mean, if anybody uses it, if you guys use it more than more than just today. Okay, so I'm gonna do an emote. I think I'm gonna do 2 emotes, and they're gonna be animated emotes because I have 2 animated slots if I take away Coot. I'll do a vote emote. Yeah, nobody uses that. Freezerburn, you're the only one. All right, well, that's what I'll do this evening then. I'm gonna take another painkiller and do some of that. I'm gonna be honest, chatters. I'm starting to feel it. I don't know. Many of you know this. I went to the hospital recently, and I have a I have a benign brain tumor. It's benign. It's so subby and benign that they don't even want to operate on it because it would be like worse to operate on it than it is to just leave it there. And also, I have a degenerative spinal thing now. My lower back has like a weird nerve problem. It's like a degenerative spinal disc thing, and I can't feel my leg. So my whole right leg is pretty numb. I'm getting a little bit more feeling in it every day, but it's still very, very numb, and it's hard to put weight on it because there's no power behind it. Like, I can sort of move it and stuff, but I can't like really walk with it very well. So I'm gonna have to go to PT for that. Yeah, I got put in the tube. Thrice put in the tube. That's right. I know I'm super late on the video too. God damn it. All I wanted to do was this video. I really wanted to have this video ready to go. The Island of Dr. Moreau video, and I promise it's going to get done. I'm sorry. I've been in the hospital and it's hard to stand at the desk. So maybe what I'll do is I'll try to work on it tonight after the emote. Okay, sweet chatters. I think that's all. That's all I've gotten in me for today. I'm sorry. I promise we'll do some video games soon. We'll go back to Battlefront. Oh my God, Battlefield. We'll go back to Battlefield soon. Sorry, I'm fading fast. I'm sorry, chatters. I'm fading fast. Sweet tiny little chatters. My name is Nicotine, and this has been the Nicotine Stream. But before I go, I want you to know that no matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter what you've done, that I'm proud of you. That I'm so proud of you, and that if you ever feel sad or scared or lonely, you should know that at any given moment, there are thousands of people in this world who want nothing more than to be your friend, and all you have to do is find them. In the meantime, you can hang out here with me, Nicotine, every day at twitch.tv/Nicotine. Coming out on Discord, coming out on Blue Sky, and on YouTube. Coming out everywhere at nicotine.com. It's a really easy way to just find all of my links. And there's a blog there, too. Sign up for the blog. Okay, sweet chatters. Sweet tiny chatters. Sweetest, littlest chatters. I will just want to say thank you. I know that it's unusual to have such a short stream. I'm sorry. I'll be better soon, I promise. I'm not going to be hurt forever. I can't be killed by mortal means. I don't know if you guys know this. I am actually immortal, and nothing can kill me because I am godlike. I am like a god, and nothing can kill me by mortal means. So thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for the 100 bits. Thank you so much. It's very sweet of you. Thank you. Also, big thank you to everybody who did this. All of the people who supported me on Patreon and the merch store with a monthly recurring membership. As a content creator, if I get sick or injured or something, I can't stream. This is the only security that I have that I'll still get something to live on. So thank you so much, patrons and merch store supporters, for being there for me. I really appreciate it. And chatters, I want you to know that whether you've been around for a long time or you're just figuring some stuff out about yourself, it's gonna be okay. And we're all in this together, sweet chatters. No gods, no masters. Your boss is not your friend. And if you're trans, it's gonna be okay. Have a wonderful night, Cassie. Good night, Harper. Good night, Enormous Door Slamming and Porcelain. Good night, Vic the Victim. Good night, Sir Demon. Good night, Sandrock. Good night, Ruby. Good night, Porcelain. Good night, everybody. I'll see you all again so very, very soon, sweet chatters. Tomorrow and every day here at the Nicotine Stream. Woo! Good night, Rhetoriku. Good night, Kindy. Good night, Cassie. Good night, Fraserbjörn.
You'll never get away with this, Nicotine.
Oh, just wait. Just wait until until my leg feel better, Batman.